I'm Chip Townsend, and this is the Team Chip Podcast. In this episode of the show, how do we set the mood in every room? And why do we set the mood? Sometimes we need to raise a room. Sometimes we may need to lower a room a little bit. We got some phone calls in the past like, Chip was rude to me today. He walked right through and didn't say anything. Leader in a room is not always the person with the title. All right, guys, welcome back to the Team Chip Podcast. Guess what? We're back. I want to encourage you to be, I don't know where I got this at or where it came up, but I want to encourage you to be the thermostat and not the thermometer when you walk in the room. How do we set the mood in every room? And why do we set the mood? And why is that important, etc.? But be the thermostat, not the thermometer. And I'm sure that's not an original Chip Townsend thought, but it's been something that's kind of heavy on my mind for a while, and something that I've talked to our team a lot about. You know, a thermometer, it reflects the current kind of temperature and environment of the room. Like, so the thermometer, you go and you look, just generally, you look at the thermometer, you go, okay, it's 75 degrees in here. That's just what it is. The thermostat, that's that box we go over to, and we slide the gauge, or now they're all digital, or we get on our app and go, turn that room up, and we turn the temperature up or down. You may even be thinking, man, this is nuts. Like, what are you talking about? Don't walk in the room and come down to the level of the room. I encourage you to come into the room and raise the level of the room. Now, you might be walking into an already energetic room, and that's great. But sometimes we're walking into rooms where things are kind of serious. There's some stress, some panic, discomfort, whatever that is. I encourage you to walk into that room and kind of take control of the room. We have something called the Black Belt acronym. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but we encourage our Black Belts to be energetic. And a lot of times the general assumption right away is like energy is just like, right? But that's not what we're talking about. Like, you know, you have a crime scene going on, right? Or a crime happening. 2 or 3 young officers roll up on the crime. They're nervous. They're excited, maybe agitated. There's like this raw going on, right? And then a very experienced officer, 20 years, rolls up. Hey, guys, boom. He brings a sense of calm, and things kind of come down. Or maybe it's a fire. You got a group of young firemen, and they're hustling, and they're working, and they're a little panicked and not as much experience. You got the 25-year fire chief roll up, and things calm down. That's the energy I'm talking about. Like, be the one that brings the correct energy. Sometimes we need to raise a room. Sometimes we may need to lower a room a little bit, right? So positive energy, bring a positive energy to the room. It's just massively important. And, you know, what are some simple ways? Like, you walk into a room that feels a little bit flat, smile at people. Smile. I mean, get the mirror neurons going in other people's faces and get them smiling back at you. A simple smile and a friendly hello can shift the mood in a room or a scenario immediately. So, this bringing the energy is really a simple thing that sometimes we just kind of fail to do. I know I fail at it every day. I'm not the best at this. And I blame kind of my type A driven personality. Like, I'll walk through the room and don't even see anyone else because I'm on a mission to get that task done. And I've had to learn, man, we got some phone calls in the past like, Chip was rude to me today. He walked right through and didn't say anything. Actually, I didn't get the phone calls. Like, my wife or our program director would get a phone call, and I end up having to call someone back and go, I am so sorry. I was just on a mission, and I should have slowed down and spoke to you or said hello. So I've been through this in a bad way. Like, be the person that walks in the room, throws a smile, greets people, makes them feel welcome, especially when they're in your place, right? That positive energy is contagious. And that's the kind of energy that we're talking about. That's the kind of thermostat we're talking about. You know, think about a time when someone else walked in when you're a little down and they just gave you a smile and a handshake or a hug. And I'm so happy to see you today. think about how that changed potentially your day, maybe even your whole week. It just changed the way you feel about yourself. Because when people do that, we immediately begin to feel like I am important. I do matter to somebody. And so anyway, bring some positive energy to the room, lead by example. Sometimes it's important to come in and just, you see the room's a little flat or a little bit off, crack a joke, be a little bit silly, kind of lighten the mood in the room. It's a fact that when we're in a happy place, when we're creative, when we're productive, we're more of these things. You're at work and everybody's kind of down and grinding, and you come in and you say something silly just to kind of lift the room. I do this with my guys sometimes. I'll walk in and just say something off the wall to them, and they'll just look at me, and sometimes they don't know if they should laugh. I'm like, yeah, it's okay to laugh, and you're trying to again, just lighten up the mood, trying to be the thermostat, not the thermometer. I can think of times where, I've been, like on teams, there's kind of heated conversation and someone comes in and cracks a joke and everybody kind of starts laughing. The mood calms, the tension kind of leaves the room. It's just, it's just important that we learn how to do this again, to be the thermostat and not the thermometer. Watch your body language. How are you carrying yourself whenever you walk into the room? Walk in, stand tall, chest out, good posture, open arms. Don't close yourself off to the room. If someone's talking to you, turn and look at them and make eye contact, smile at them, make them feel comfortable, that you're there. This posture thing is so important, again, in affecting the room. Whenever we teach self-defense clinics, we teach people, if you're closed off and your shoulders kind of hunched forward, you're looking down, people will perceive you. You may not be insecure, but people will perceive you as potentially being insecure, or distracted or stressed or whatever. You can become more of a target, right? You walk in, the chest out, you're smiling at people, looking around the room, giving a welcoming posture about yourself, and a confident posture. It's easier for people to connect. And again, it kind of lightens the mood in the room. And I just kind of feel compelled here. The leader in a room is not always the person with the title. As a matter of fact, very commonly, it's not. The leader in the room is the person. Let's say you're around a table with a group of people, that when someone asks a question, everyone's eyes will kind of go to that person. And a lot of times it might be the guy that's been, on the job for the last 20 years and is hyper experienced, but he's not really the boss yet. He's still just out there at that work level. And everyone kind of looks towards him because he's got the most experience in the room sometimes. So it's not position or title that brings leadership. It's presence. It's experience. It's a lot of different things. So, when you walk in the room, you might be the leader that you don't realize you even are. So come in that room with a good posture, eyes up, and smiling at people and comfortable with what's going on. It will say a ton about you, but it'll also help to lighten up that room. So your body language is so important here. It's also important that we make connections with people. Show some genuine curiosity about people around you. I try, because I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm kind of an introvert. I'm not a very extroverted person. And so when I go to events, I just was recently at an event in Orlando, Florida, speaking to several hundred people. And I had about 10 minutes out from my time to be on stage. And I walked through the tables and introduced myself to everybody that I could. It was so uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable for me. Although I was kind of the guest of honor and I was the one there to speak, I'm not a social person. And so what I did is I went around and I tried to create a common ground with people. Hey, how are you? What interested you in this? I'm so happy that you're here. I'm excited that you want to be a part of it. And just tried to create kind of a common bond and common connection with people. And it's so important. Show interest in them and who they are and why they're there. It helps people, again, to kind of lighten the mood. If you're perceived as someone who's a little bit on a pedestal, it kind of brings you down and they go, oh, this guy's a human just like me. I remember my mom used to say to me, don't grovel to anybody, because every man gets up and puts their pants on one leg at a time, just like you. They bleed just like you. Don't grovel to them. You can look up to them and respect them, but don't grovel to people. And so I think sometimes when you're perceived as a person on a pedestal, it's really important to you to come down, for lack of better words. I know we're not literally coming down, but kind of come off that pedestal and go out amongst the people and shake hands and make eye contact. Foster connections, which can help, and show interest in people and let them know that you truly care about them. When the vibe of a room is off, let's think about this. You walk in and maybe the boss isn't in the room yet. And, you're all coming together for a meeting and there's some negative talk going on. Oh yeah, the boss did this, blah, 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 blah. The talk that happens at the water cooler, right? And that the boss knows about. And, you walk in the room, instead of lowering yourself to that level and jumping on the bandwagon with everybody, shift the conversation, steer it towards something more positive. Like, hey guys, today it's not 110 degrees in West Texas. It's like 75. What do you guys think about the weather? It's really nice and cool out there. I don't know. It's a silly example, but find a way to shift the conversation to something a little bit more positive and try to steer people away. Again, we're talking about not being the thermometer and just kind of going to the level of the room, but being the thermostat and shifting and bringing the room up, especially if the room is down. And you have the power to do that. Be the person, again, that walks in if the vibe is negative. And our tendency, I think, because of social media and pop culture, is to jump on the bandwagon. Don't be a coattail rider. Don't be a bandwagoner. There's times for that. But especially when things are negative, shift it. Be someone who can change that to a positive. Cool the room down instead of letting it be hot. So anyway, with that said, just encourage you to be a thermostat, to be a lifter, to bring positive energy, to do all those things. Smile and engage with people. Lead with positivity and curiosity. Be mindful of your physical posture and how you carry yourself whenever you walk in the room. Try to shift negative conversations over to something positive. Don't let the room linger on the negative things. But again, kind of beating the words up, be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Be a leader, not, I don't want to say a follower, but yeah, don't be a follower in those situations. When the room needs lead, step up and lead. Step up and posture well, smile, engage, communicate, connect. Do the things that you need to do to lift the room and get it to a better place. And I'll qualify that with, and I just said this weekend, I just said don't be the follower, but remember this too. If you're young in this game, whatever that game is, martial arts, business operation, or anything, or young instructor, in order to be a great leader, you do need to be a great follower first. You got to follow some great leadership to help to learn how that process works. And then eventually maybe you're groomed and you're taught how to lead, and then you get to step past and maybe even lead better than the great leaders that brought you along. So we do need to follow in the right times when the environment's positive, but don't follow whenever the environment's negative. Be that thermostat and change. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Just want to encourage you to be the ones that bring a positive energy no matter where you are. We have one thing that we control all day, every day. It's our attitude. It's how we respond to things. And, the first time I read this, and I believe it was attributed to someone else, but was Stephen Covey, between stimulus and response. Someone says something or touches me, and I respond, there's a space. And in that space is my opportunity to choose my attitude. It's my opportunity to think, to put some clear thought into how I want to respond. And not to drag this out too long, but we have something we call the 24-hour rule. You get hot emotionally, you can even write out your response. Don't send it anywhere. Don't hit send on the email. Write it on a piece of paper, fold it up, stick it in your desk. And if you're still hot tomorrow and want to deliver it, but wait 24 hours. And a huge percentage of the time, you'll have a better response. So with that said, be the thermostat. Bring the room up. Bring the environment up. Keep it positive and keep it strong, because you have the power and the ability to do that. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Got some nuggets from it. Again, go be that thermostat. Have a great day, guys. Thank you for tuning into the Team Chip Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget, subscribe, share, and or leave a review, because we need you. We appreciate you so much. And without you, we can't make this happen. Remember, consistency is the key to success. So go out there and never be outworked.